Picture this. You're an eighth-year IT engineer over in Japan. You've just been assigned to this massive global financial system project, and you are heading off to London for the very first time. For the protagonist of today's explainer, this wasn't just a regular business trip. It honestly felt exactly like stepping right into an anime isekai. You know the trope, right? The main character gets suddenly transported into some completely different, magical world. Well, just hearing the words, overseas financial system, felt like crossing a dimensional threshold for him. But, as he was about to find out, the real shock wasn't the destination itself. It was the journey getting there.
Okay, let's dive into this, because this sudden, deeply uncomfortable realization hit our engineer right at 30,000 feet. The thought was literally, wait, is this because we're the vendor? We usually assume that highly skilled tech professionals are just naturally at the top of the food chain, right? But what actually happens when you discover these invisible, deeply entrenched corporate hierarchies hanging right there in the cabin of an airplane?
Well, before we uncover the stark, unspoken realities of the IT industry and how they actually dictate who sits where, make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a like. Join us on this journey of career discovery, where we break down these complex industry structures into lessons you can actually use.
Let's jump right into Section 1, Flight to Another World. Subtitle, The Excitement of Premium Economy.
So, to our protagonist, whose entire frame of reference was just standard economy class, getting a seat upgrade was absolutely mind-blowing. The vendor team was seated in premium economy, and his internal monologue was just pure joy. He's thinking, wait, these seats are huge. I actually have room to stretch my legs. Even the blankets are different. He was genuinely thrilled. Up until this very moment, the idea that airplanes had distinct ranks or classes didn't even feel like a tangible reality to him. It was a whole different world, and he was on cloud 9 before the plane even pushed back from the date.
But then, the atmosphere totally shifted. Which brings us to Section 2, The Invisible Corporate Wall. Subtitle, The Lounge and Beyond. While our engineer was busy marveling at all that extra legroom, he noticed the customer side members, the clients, heading off in a completely different direction at the airport. They casually just said, "Yeah, we'll use the lounge first." And our protagonist is just left standing there with this profound sense of confusion. The lounge? What even is a lounge? To a hard-working builder who had spent his entire career in the trenches of code and servers, this hidden, exclusive realm was a complete mystery.
And this brilliantly illustrates the jarring reality of the situation. Same project, same destination of London, but completely different travel worlds. The vendor team takes the standard route straight to premium economy. Meanwhile, the client team disappears into a VIP lounge, takes a completely different boarding route, and sits up in business class, a place that seemed like an entirely different universe. The gap was literally impossible to ignore.
Now, to really emphasize the sheer absurdity of this, think about who was sitting right next to our young protagonist in premium economy, a 40-year-old veteran infrastructure engineer. This guy was an absolute master of his craft. We're talking the master of system failures, late-night incidents, and complex performance optimization. In terms of sheer technical experience and literally keeping those financial systems alive, he was easily on the exact same level as the customer's department manager. He knew the field inside and out. Yet here he was, separated from the clients by a literal curtain.
Which led to this dawning, slightly crushing realization. Technical mastery, being the absolute best at building and fixing things, didn't actually dictate your corporate rank or how you were treated on this trip. He wondered, so airline class isn't decided by the individual, it's decided by the company? It was a heavy thought.
That brings us to Section 3, Reality of IT Structure. Subtitle, The Builder's Dilemma.
To really understand why this happens, we need to talk about the system integration or SI industry. It's an industry sector where your position in the contract structure often matters significantly more than who is actually physically building the systems. The client holds the budget and the overarching responsibility, while the vendor provides the service. So the crucial point is this heavy conflict between logic and emotion. Intellectually, logically, our protagonist got it. The hierarchy is dictated by contract structures and responsibilities. The compensation and travel perks are based on profit models that differ wildly between clients and vendors. It makes perfect business sense, but emotionally it felt completely backwards. Ever since he was young, he admired system engineers. He deeply believed that the people who build and maintain the systems, the ones supporting our social infrastructure, should naturally be the strongest and receive the highest treatment and respect. Reconciling that logical, harsh business reality with his emotional feeling was a really tough pill to swallow at 30,000 feet.
Let me ask you, watching this right now, Does your company define your rank? Have you ever felt that your company's name or your specific position in a contract completely overshadowed your actual personal skills, your hard work, and your daily contributions? It's a pretty daunting question, and it's exactly what our engineer was wrestling with as he stared out the airplane window on the way to London.
But here is where the story turns around. Section 4. Building Your Own Value. Subtitle, Beyond Organizational Boundaries. Because as it turns out, this trip wasn't just an overseas training assignment. It was a massive professional awakening.
If you are ready to learn how to break through these invisible walls in your own career, right now is a great time to subscribe and hit that like button. Let's build your personal value together, starting with the ultimate takeaway from this story.
What our protagonist realized is that younger engineers need to understand the harsh realities of the IT world early on. Pure technical skill is incredibly important, absolutely. But technology alone doesn't decide everything. And here is the truly empowering part. Your company alone doesn't decide everything, and your title alone doesn't decide everything either. None of these single factors define your ultimate worth.
Let's move to and see how this builds into a real formula for personal value, derived directly from that uneasy feeling on the flight. Step 1. Master your technology. You still need those rock-solid foundational skills. Step 2. Understand the business. You need to know how the money flows and exactly why clients make the decisions they do. And Step 3. Navigate the structure. Understand the contract layers, the SI industry, and figure out exactly where you fit into the grand puzzle.
That slight discomfort he felt on the plane, it didn't defeat him. It shaped him. It gave him a brand new perspective on the intersection of technology, business, and structure. It's exactly like the climax of our anime character's arc, leading to this fantastic, resolute quote, "I can do this. Tomorrow, I will take the first step forward." Because you see, the invisible wall is really only a barrier if you don't understand how it was built in the first place.
So I'll leave you with this final, lingering thought. What should engineers really aim for? Is it just joining a massive company, moving over to the client side, or is it something deeper? Building your own unique, undeniable value that goes far beyond any organizational boundary or company name printed on a business card. Think about how you're building your value today. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you in the next one.